The Journal. Hunting is one of the best conservation tools we have. The Journal is a hunting podcast that covers the ethics, history, and culture of hunting in Africa and South Africa alike. My name is Dylan Love. I'm the founder of PH Journals. My brand was created to spread awareness why hunting is one of the best conservation tools we have to offer. So if ethical and sustainable hunting is what you're looking for, well then you have come to the right place. Hey guys, and welcome yet to another podcast of The Journal. Exciting episode ahead, and exciting for a specific reason. Scully's have come on board as the main sponsor for The Journal podcast for 2023 and the rest of this year. Scully's is an innovative idea made purely based on conservation at heart. And I'm proud to be associated with such an incredible brand and just to create awareness for all the new things that can possibly come of this. It's such a great initiative. So these are little 3D model, one sixth of the size, 1/6 scale of these. They're resin printed 3D models of original skulls that have been taken. Scully's team have invested a lot of money in a 3D scanner. So these are original skulls that you guys see here today. If you guys would like to find out more, I will be putting this link in the description. Use my discount code PHJ10 for a 10% discount, shipping all over South Africa at the moment. And hopefully in the early stages of 2023, we will be abroad. This is such a great product to be involved with. Yeah, sky's the limit at this point. So big shout out to Scully's, the whole team, Doug, everybody, Kelly, everyone, Pierre, that's been involved with this development and this brainstorm. I call it a little bit of a brain fart. Is really, guys, it's such a privilege and honor to be involved with such things. You've got the Big Five collection, Spiral Horn collection, Small collection, Plains Game collection. Such a great way for stocking fillers, for gifts to your kids, and just to spread awareness. So big shout out to Scully's, and I'm so excited for the future. So we will hopefully have one of the team members on board with the podcast in the next couple of days, where we can launch this properly as a main sponsor. But I feel honored and truly blessed to be a part of this. So thank you so much. Well, guys, without further ado, let's get into this week's episode. So guys, like mentioned before, big shout out to Scully's. That's one of the main developments coming out of the Journal podcast in the past couple of weeks. As far as I'm concerned, PH Journals, there's been a couple of questions that have come onto my social media platforms, as well as I've just finished a live on TikTok. And yeah, what an interesting time it is to be a hunter, to be a professional hunter. And one of the questions, and I'm going to dive straight into it, was asked how to become a professional hunter. Well, guys, firstly, to link up with the correct schools, correct institutions. If you guys would like to find out more about this, I would like to get affiliated with a couple of schools out there. So if you guys would like to find out more, hit me up on any one of my social media platforms. I'll get more involved in depth for searching for you guys as regards to this, because I think that's probably one of the most important things, is linking with the correct school. But before that, there is a step. There's two steps to it. Firstly, you've got to identify, why do you want to become a professional hunter? If it's for the lifestyle, I don't recommend you getting into it. I just think that the lifestyle isn't ideal for what you think it is. It's a great way of looking at things, but it's not the best way. It's not the best reason for you to get involved as a professional hunter if you're looking for the lifestyle of it. However, differently, if you're looking to become a conservationist, to preserve and conserve the wonderful wildlife we have, to look after it, to understand that you have got an obligation as a professional hunter, that every time you step in the bush, you are making the correct call, not only for the species, not only for that particular herd, not only for that hunter, but for generations to come. You have an obligation to live up to. So understand that these are huge criteria that you have to carry on your shoulders, carry every single day as a professional hunter. So that is the main reason why I will get into it. Obviously, the other main reason is to provide food, ethical food for your family. So guys, those are the questions you need to ask yourself before, and then once you found the school, before doing any sort of PH course, I would recommend you guys going out, finding an institution, finding a game farm, an outfitter, a reserve, anything like that will take you in as a skivvy, offer your camera services, try and just get in and do as much hunting as possible with other guides, with other PHs, with other hunters. So you can see what it's all about. You can interact with people and just understand what the whole industry is all about. And then take that step. Understand that if that is what you want, understand the lifestyle, understand the importance of conservation, take that into the next step, into your school, excuse me, and then take it from there and move forward and become the best possible professional hunter that you can be for this wonderful industry and for our wildlife. So yeah, that's how I will get into it. And then once you've done those steps, look at rifles, look at bows, look at niches and niches in the market. It's an incredible time to be a PH because there are so many niches at the moment. There's guys that are specializing in bow hunting. There's guys that are specializing in long range shooting. There's guys that are specializing in biltong hunting. There's just so many branches that you can develop in this specific situation, which I think is very, very important for the future to come. So yeah, that's the exciting part about it, is that understanding that you're going to be able to figure out your niche. If you're a good bow hunter, by all means, stick to bow hunting. I mean, that's what you're going to love to do. So, yeah, and that's how I will go about doing it. The way I've approached it, and I've always considered this as the less formal way of going about things. I approached it from a brand awareness point of view. I believe that if I created a brand strong enough, I would be able to spread why hunting is our best conservation tool. That's been my motto. That's been my lifelong need and want for this industry, is to understand that it's, hunting, fortunately or unfortunately, whichever way you look at it, is by far the best conservation tool we have to offer. And like I mentioned in my live, like I've mentioned in a couple of videos before, hunting is instilled in any one of us. You can't get rid of it. It's in our gene. It's a primal instinct. And whether you like it or not, you're born with it. It's going to be there for generations to come. You're not going to be able to get rid of it. And what does it mean to be a hunter? Well, it's the pursuit of living, the pursuit of food, making sure you understand that you've got to put food on the table every single day. And the only way you're going to do that is through the means of hunting. Somebody always said to me, and it was such an interesting, not an argument, discussion we had, was that you put a homeless man without anything, without clothes, without food, without anything on the streets, and he's always going to make a plan. He's always going to make a plan to live, because your survival instinct kicks in, and part of your survival instinct is hunting. So it's a gene that we'll never get rid of. As hard as we want to try, we'll never get rid of it. So it's the pursuit of the animal. It's a pursuit of hunting those specific animals. And then killing is the least favorite part about it. But here's the interesting thing about it. Not all animals you can eat. So you're not fulfilling that gene requirement. But because us as humans have created these false ecosystems that, thanks to land encroachment, thanks to overpopulation, thanks to poisons, thanks to mass farming, mass slaughters, all these sort of things, wars, nuclear bombs, all these sort of things that have forced us into these managerial positions of these ecosystems. We have to physically monitor and manage these ecosystems going forward. And the only way we can do that, in my personal opinion, is via hunting. And that's why I say it's the best conservation tool, because you're putting out value on the animal, number one. So those animals have got value. So they can't just go and wipe out. If the farmer believes they've got more value having those animals there, you can't go and put up a shopping mall. They're not going to allow you, because they're going to get more money from the animal, or animals in this case. So yeah, guys, that's my stand on this whole thing, and this is where I feel so strongly about it, is that that's where we've got to understand the conservation is at this particular time. So yeah, as far as a pH is concerned, that's the big picture that you're looking at. That's your message. You have to get out there to your clients and understand that this is what we're doing. So, for me, it's been an interesting ride. Like I said a little bit earlier, the lifestyle for me as a professional hunter has started catching up on me. I'm getting a lot older. I've got a daughter, I've got responsibilities now. So there's a lot of consideration that you've got to take into account when doing these sort of things. So unfortunately, it's limited me into the scope that I can stretch out as a professional hunter. And that just comes with territory. So if you're a man that is going to want to settle down and have a family and stuff, really just consider all these aspects first time round. And I'm very, very fortunate with the position I'm in, with such a strong following, such a strong backing from clients, previous clients, brands, institutions, that they back me. So my lifestyle now has sort of, from a professional hunting side of things, slowed down, but picked up in other avenues, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So the sky's the limit. And, I always call it, I go back to that day that I sat with that old topi, and he said to me, my boy, 70% of your success in hunting is planning, and the other 30% is luck. And it's something I've always referred back to. But as my time as a professional hunter has taken on, I've slowly realized that 70% is actually manifestation. So manifest what you want to become in this industry. And that's exactly what I've done. I've manifested myself into this position because I believe that this is what the industry needed at this time. So don't go out there. If you've got crazy ideas, go out there, think them through. Understand that whatever you think, whatever you believe is going to be a strong way forward for this industry, and it's got to benefit it. And if it does, by all means, go for it. And I'll be the first person that will back you. And yeah, so that's the interesting one, and that's a little bit about professional hunting in a nutshell. This question was actually asked a couple of times to me, but the reason why I decided to talk about it, I know I've spoken about it in the podcast before, is one of my goals. I've always wanted to talk about how you can manage being a professional hunter and having an ordinary life as far as financial implications are concerned. I'm not yet in that position to do that, but how this forced me into doing this podcast about this particular question was, there was an individual from the States actually wanting to find out about it. And for me, it was interesting because, what better way to learn and to do what you love by coming over from America, having the financial backing, because obviously the dollar is higher in value than it is in the rands. Coming over, having such a positive impact, having and really just stating your claim over in the industry over this side and becoming a professional hunter. Who knows, you might stay on until you're 50 years old here in South Africa, or you might just do it for 5 or 6 years. But you need to understand as well that you still have that obligation to make sure that you're looking after the herds. You're preserving and conserving, and that's what you got to live by. So no matter where you are in the world, I know there's guys that are from Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Spain, the US, are all professional hunters. Yeah, there's a couple of them, but just understand that's your obligation. That's what you guys have got to do going forward, as far as conservation is concerned. So yeah, guys, that's it for the first question. Before we get into the next one, I'm just going to stop the camera and start recording again and we're back. So the next question was actually asked as well, and this one I really struggled with, and this is why I wanted Sue Tidwell on the podcast as soon as possible. But thanks to my wonderful government, with the load shedding as well as cables being burst here in Queenstown, our electricity has been coming and going, ridiculous times. I mean, this week we've been off for 3 days straight. So it's been extremely frustrating to try and get Sue on the podcast because, with the signal here, if our Skype podcast is not the greatest of quality, then, it loses its effect. And Sue is such a wonderful and interesting lady. And I really, I'm going to ask her this question, but I thought I would try and answer it as best as I possibly can. And it was brought to me by a young lady. She was born in Kenya. Her parents later moved to the United Kingdom. She's wanted to come back to do lion project work here in South Africa. However, it didn't quite work out. So she thought that she would go against the grain and develop and try and hunt. In understanding why hunting played such a crucial role in the conservation of lions. And I said to her, please, when she gets the first thing she does when she gets off that plane in South Africa, she comes down to Queenstown, she does a podcast with me, or I will fly up to her, because I think this is such an incredible initiative for somebody that's completely against hunting, that's come from a country that stopped hunting in the 70s to come out here now and use it as a tool to get involved with lion conservation was such a unique approach. And I want to pick her brain in why she asked that particular question. And so the question was posed that how does she get involved in hunting? Well, as a foreigner or as an outsider, number one, it's definitely going to be difficult for you to get your rifle license in such a short space of time. So maybe consider getting a rifle license over there, or bringing a bow over, or whatever the case may be, or just tagging along with a professional hunter or with an outfitter. There's loads of outfitters, there's loads of professional hunters out there that are looking for people that are volunteers, to hold a camera, take photos, to take video footage, to do all these sort of things. And that would be a great way to start getting involved in hunting. And I looked at this and I thought, you know what, this young lady is coming out here against the grain, against all odds, from a liberal country, from non-hunting background, to do hunting. Is she doing it for the right reasons? And this question I asked myself time and time again. And at some stage, I second guessed it. I went back onto my Instagram, I read the question again, and I just couldn't believe what I was actually hearing. And it takes so much courage for somebody to do that. And the fact that she's willing to understand that right off the bat. So I think what I would suggest to her is, rifles and all that sort of stuff aside, get yourself affiliated with an organization, FASA, SA Hunters, whatever it may be, and become involved with that, and understand that that's going to be your platform going forward to back you in whatever obligation or legal requirements might need or might come about from this scenario that you're going to be tackling. And then understanding also, are you becoming a hunter because you want to hunt lions, or are you coming over because you want to understand a little bit more of why it was such a massive conservation tool. And that in itself is such a unique way of looking at things. So yeah, for me, I would get involved with an organization first, and then get involved with an outfitter, a professional hunter, and offer your services for free. And that way you can learn a little bit more about hunting and to see why that's what you really want to do. And as far as the lion conservation is concerned, well, guys, we need to understand one thing. Putting a value on an animal, putting a value on a species is one of the most important things that we can possibly do as a human race. Like mentioned before, with land encroachment, overpopulation, poisons, all that sort of stuff. If you're valuing animals more than what those lands or crops can weep, you are essentially doing your part for conservation. For instance, let's talk about leopard at the moment. It's an unspoken rumor in the Eastern Cape that the leopard population is growing. And this is a wonderful thing, but it's also a very, very bad thing. There are stories going around, and again, please do not quote me or write any story about this saying that the PH Journal said this. These are just rumors that are going around. But it does, to every rumor, there is some sort of truth, and it does touch on the fundamentals of what conservation and the rand dollar or the dollar value actually works. So at the moment, there's an unspoken rumor of leopard populations growing in the Eastern Cape, and there have been sightings on game cameras and all these sort of things. There's been sightings out of helicopters. There's been farmers picking carcasses up out of trees or out of bushes that have been a little bit bigger than what a caracal and a jackal can take down. So we're valuing, and however, the rumor goes in that these carcasses are then being poisoned, and like all cats, most cats, they always come back to feed off the leftover of their prey. The cats are getting poisoned. The farmers are finding these cats and they're putting in them warthog holes. They're burying them, and it's never to be spoken of again. Whether this is true or not, I don't have facts to back it. However, this is what I'm saying is the fundamentals of the dollar valuation as far as wildlife is concerned. Let's say we value those animals at the worst possible case scenario at $20,000. At this point in time, we can say that $20,000 is 18. Let's call it 18 to 1 times 20. That animal is valued at 360,000 rand to the farmer. Let's take off, if we had to take off profits and all that sort of stuff, permits, conservation, dollar, all that sort of stuff. Let's say the farmer walks away with 200,000 rands from that one animal, if he is dished out permits to hunt. 200,000 rand would essentially buy him a good herd of cattle. If he is losing cattle, a good herd of sheep. If he's losing sheep, all these sort of things. It's the same as the brown eye hyenas in the area. Last year I was first-hand witness to 15 goats losing their lives in one night to a brown eye hyena by just crushing their skulls. That brown eye hyena was valued at $13,000. However, we couldn't get a permit for it to be hunted. Therefore, the farmer lost its livestock and gave the instruction to anyone that had spotted this thing to shoot it, throw it in the warthog hole, and never to be spoken of again. So you're undermining you're undervaluing that animal. You're valuing 15 goats more than what that animal is actually worth. Whereas if you had to convert that, call it 180,000 rand, that farmer would have got, he could have easily bought 15 plus more goats. So that's the basics of how this rand dollar thing is actually working. So this leopard is probably killing, let's say worst case scenario, one a month. So that's 12, call them heifers, calves, whatever it may be, sheep. That's what they're killing a year. So it's 12 animals a year. At 200,000 rand, they could easily double their herd from that value, so they don't mind losing. And that's the rule of thumb that's going on all over Africa. I mean, elephants encroaching on the wheat, on the land. You know, they destroying hectares. I mean, there's a massive overpopulation of elephants in Botswana at the moment, and they're causing massive havoc in the crop farming. And I know we speak about land encroachment, but when you're a subsistence farmer, when you're farming for yourself, you value that land at a hell of a lot of money. And if you're losing crop on a daily basis to a massive lump of meat that you can turn in for the rest of your village, and then as well save your crop, you're devaluing that animal. Whereas if that village got what's an elephant to hunt now in Botswana is probably upwards of $75,000, call R500,000 worth of profits coming into that village. You know, you smiling. You don't mind if they go through 2 or 3 hectares or acres of cropland on every month or every second month, you know. And this is the basic. That's the basic fundamental about the dollar, the hunting dollar, I call it. And until we understand that, until individuals, Greenpeace, conservationists, whatever you want to call them, understand that fundamental, we're just going to keep losing. And unfortunately, I feel that we're fighting a losing battle. So getting back to the leopard topic, how much longer is it going to take before we start giving out permits for leopard in the area? Even if it's just 1 or 2 a year, it's still creating an initiative that we have got conservation now at our priority list, instead of finding ways to prevent, because we're not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I mean, leopard, elephant, no matter what you name it, is just there's going to be a way that these things are going to get out. I mean, brown hyena, servals. I mean, we saw serval in the Eastern Cape for the first time in decades. So what a way to start off with, by just putting out the initiative, saying, listen, he has a permit. He has one permit for conservation of the leopard in the Eastern Cape, and we allocate this permit to the Amatola district, let's say. And whoever gets that leopard, obviously you know, the more finer print detail will come into effect. Male over a certain age, baiting, dogs, whatever the case may be, but that's irrelevant until you get the permit. So once the permit comes in, then you can negotiate the finer print. But until that happens, we're just going to see lawbreakers. We're going to see people still skipping a crucial part of conservation, and I think that's an important part. So, yeah, getting back to the question, that's what you've got to understand, that the hunting dollar conservation tool was all about as far as hunting is concerned. So if you want to come over here and do the hunting part for conservation, understand that those are the avenues you have to go through. I know there are still game farms that are physically hunting lions, and I fully support it. As crooked as that industry is, and as crooked as it's become, there's still a very, very important place in the industry for it. And I would love to have an argument against somebody that doesn't believe that, because I think it'll be an interesting debate, and not to get heated or anything, or to try and prove anyone a point or anything like that, but just to have a discussion and just understand that you know, these are the evil. I think it was one of my friends said it to me. It was an evil. I can't remember how it went. It was an evil necessity. It was an evil need that we needed in the industry to keep these animals. So, yeah, however you want to call it, however you want to look at it, that is it. And yeah, for me, it's such an important part. Yeah, guys, so those are the 2 questions that were posed. I had a great time on TikTok this evening. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more of that. So if you guys would Follow me on the TikTok. I'm going to be doing a lot of TikTok lives. Hopefully I'll get over to the YouTube side of things as well. I have my iPad set up for the next time and try and do 2 things. That for me was great. Once again, a big shout out to the Scully's team, Buffalo, talking about elephant skull. Head along to the website I'll tag in the link below. Use my discount code PHJ10 for 10% discount shipping all over South Africa. I'm sure the Scully's team together with the Splitting Image team will be in the United States in January, so if you guys would like them to bring over, just say PH Journal sent you along, send them an email, and I'm sure they'll bring your order along as well. Great stocking fillers, great little gift to give your kid, your family member, your dad, or whatever the case may be. So, guys, I've had an incredible night. I just want to once again say thank you to everyone that supported me. This year's been tough, mentally, physically. I'll get into that a little bit as we go along. For those of you that have supported me, thank you. It's so appreciated. Understand that this Scully's venture, I will talk a little bit more about it, but understand that the Scully's venture will be paying towards conservation as well as this podcast going forward, so that I can keep doing it because I love it so much, and I really think that it spreads such a great awareness. So if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and if you enjoyed this episode, drop a thumbs up. If you're not, if you're listening to this across any other platforms, make sure you're following, make sure you're liking, make sure you're sharing, because the more of that you guys do, the better it helps me spread the awareness and carry on doing what I love. So once again, thank you so much, and if you are, happy hunting. Until then, stay safe, stay blessed, stay humble. We'll catch up with you guys soon. Cheers for now.